Is something big about to happen at Leeds United? And what I mean by that is, we all know that Daniel Farke is on the verge of a sacking. It's hanging by a thread. But now odds have been slashed on ex-Celtic manager, ex-Liverpool manager, ex-Leicester manager, Brendan Rodgers, to become the manager of Leeds United. He is now the favourite runner. So where has this came from, and how have we got to this point, and why are Leeds United in the position of what they are now? We're going to break it all down. But before we do, I want to know in the comments, guys, are you Farke in or are you Farke out? Because it seems like the majority of the fan base now think and feel like it's time for Daniel Farke to go. So I want to know in the comments, and I want to know your reasons why. So let us know. But let's get into it. So let's take a look at it. So why are we here now at the moment, and why is Daniel Farke about to lose his job? So fantastic season last season for Daniel Farke, Leeds United. 100 points, goals scored, great championship season, won the championship trophy, and we were all delighted with him. Then, just after the trophy parade around the city, it was leaked by the Daily Mail from the 49ers that he may sack Leeds United manager Daniel Farke, given his record in the Premier League and concerns about his Premier League record. And I don't think there's any denying as Leeds United fans. We all probably felt the same as well. That there's no doubt about it that Daniel Farke is a really good championship manager. It shows. He's won it 3 times. But his Premier League record wasn't particularly good. And we all felt at the time that maybe if Daniel Farke is backed a little bit in the Premier League, which he wasn't at Norwich, could he do it for Leeds United? And I felt the same. I think he deserved a crack at it, but a very tight leash. Now, after 12 games, below the points per game ratio, in the relegation zone, 3 defeats in a row, only 1 win in 5, conceding the same goals week in, week out, reactive with our substitutions instead of proactive, no in-game management. We're seeing the same stuff from Daniel Farke as what we've seen from him the last time in the Premier League under Norwich, and a couple of times in the Championship with Leeds United. So now his managerial position at Leeds United is hanging by a thread, with what looks like the majority of the Leeds United fan base feeling it's time for Daniel Farke to go. So it always feels a matter of when's it going to happen rather than if it's going to happen. And with a very, very tough run of fixtures coming up for Daniel Farke, Manchester City away next, Chelsea at home, Liverpool at home, and then Brentford away. Very tough run of fixtures. So if Daniel Farke is to turn this around and regain that points per game ratio, claw Leeds United out of the relegation zone, it is going to need some sort of miracle. So as I said, it feels a matter of if, not when, for Daniel Farke. And I do feel sorry for him because I really wanted it to work. I really did want it to work after what he done for us last season. But it feels like it's about to turn a little bit nasty. We seen on the weekend a fan entering the field of play, trying to get down to the dugout to Daniel Farke. And it's not acceptable at any level. But I just don't want the Leeds United fan base to turn hostile, to turn on each other. We need to stick together, because when players leave and managers leave and owners leave, we're still the ones left behind. So I don't want it to turn nasty. And I think at Man City, if what looks like is going to happen at Man City and Leeds United do get a bit of a pounding, Daniel Farke has to be relieved of his duties and let the new manager come in, back-to-back home Premier League games, obviously against really tough opposition, but give him the opportunity to try and get results out of that game, because every point, every single point is absolutely vital in the Premier League this season if we are going to survive. It could even come down to goal difference. So let's talk who might be up next for Leeds United. And the odds were slashed on ex-Celtic, Liverpool and Swansea boss Brendan Rodgers last night, out of nowhere. So there's a couple of outlets, and not reliable ones, Team Talk, Football Insider, said that Brendan Rodgers is waiting in the wings to take over at Leeds United and that he is the front runner. And then the odds were slashed on it last night, out of nowhere. And he has become favourite for the Leeds United job. He's in there with Bo Svensson, Carlos Colbron, and Marcus Rose as well. And another couple of names has been pouted about as well, with Gareth Southgate, Postecoglou. There's been a few in there. But let's go back to Rodgers and the type of managerial career Brendan Rodgers has, his style of play. Would it suit Leeds United? Would it be a good appointment? Would it be a bad appointment? There's no doubt about it that Brendan Rodgers has achieved some really good things in his managerial career. And you go way back to Swansea, the first Welsh club to get into the Premier League, had them playing unbelievable football in the Championship. They get up to the Premier League, they finished 11th. And that's why Liverpool went from. And he had a really good stint at Liverpool, and they had some really poor players at the time, and they were really building a team. They came second in the Premier League, and we all know they lost the Premier League with that Gerrard slip. But he then goes on to Celtic, couple of trebles, dominated Scotland, and some people will say Obviously, the Scottish League, it's easy to do, and Rangers were obviously on a massive downfall then. They were coming back from their administration and their problems. So he goes on to Leicester, and this is where I felt when he went to Leicester, this is a real chance to get a look at Brendan Rodgers and what his managerial style is. Can he do it in the big league? This is a massive job for him. So he does decent at Leicester in his first season, really good. I think he gets him into the European places, wins an FA Cup, and you're thinking he's a really good manager. Him, Spurs were in for him at one stage, and you're thinking he's a good manager. Then it seemed to turn a little bit south at Leicester City, and he turns on the board publicly, starts calling them out for recruitment side of things, not happy with the players that he has and all this sort of stuff. And I don't think that's a good look for a manager. And this was the first time I remember seeing anything like this from Brendan Rodgers, and I didn't particularly like it. I didn't particularly like to see it. So ultimately, he leaves Leicester City by mutual consent, goes back to Celtic, and they kind of reluctantly took him back with open arms. Then he wins 2 leagues in a row, and you can kind of accept that. But not really playing the free-flowing, open, expansive football, high-energy football from what we've seen from Brendan Rodgers previously in his managerial career. And the Celtic fans weren't too happy with it. And obviously, being Irish, I know a lot of Celtic fans were not too happy with the football that Brendan Rodgers was playing up there. But they won 2 leagues, so they could accept it. Then again, it turned a little bit nasty at Celtic. Himself and the club board turning on each other, not too happy, not recruiting the players he wanted to recruit, selling players that he didn't want to sell. All the normal things you'd expect a manager to get annoyed over. But again, he defaulted to what he done at Leicester City, back to publicly calling out the board. And I don't think that's a good look, even if the board, isn't doing a good job. And most of the time, us fans don't see what goes on in the background. You can't play it out in public. And there's times it feels like with Brendan Rodgers lately in his career that he likes to be the centre of attention and all about me. And I don't think that will work at Leeds United, especially with our sort of fan base and the way we like to be side before self. All Leeds, aren't we, all together? So that don't think that would wash at Leeds United. But if we could get the Brendan Rodgers, what we've seen of old, back to really playing open, expansive football, bringing the club together, it could work at Leeds United. But my next issue is the group of players that are here at Leeds United so far. I don't think you're going to get a Brendan Rodgers style of play with the group of players that are here at Leeds United. I don't think he's going to play the way that he wants to play. He likes to play possession football, high energy, high press. I don't think you're going to get that with this group of players, possibly Brendan Aronson. And some people will say if you sack Farke, bring another manager in, and he persists with Brendan Aronson, they might have a meltdown. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion on that one. So it's interesting one, the one with Brendan Rodgers. There's a part of me thinking, if we could get the Brendan Rodgers of old, possibly, yeah. I think it would be good. Is he a better coach than Daniel Farke? I think so. But is he the right fit for Leeds United? I'm not too sure. But we know with the 49ers that they do like Brendan Rodgers, because we hear before Daniel Farke was appointed as Leeds United manager in the Championship, the Brendan Rodgers name was very high up on the list that the 49ers wanted. And the only reason he didn't come was because Leeds United were in the Championship and he felt like he'd done his stint in the Championship. So could this be the next Leeds United manager? Or is it just media chat? This is the good side of Brendan Rodgers. Trophies, FA Cups. If you could bring that to Leeds United, possibly. But there also is a bit of a bad side to him as well, that I don't think would wash at Leeds United. So it's an interesting one. An interesting one to keep an eye on. But why have the odds been slashed? Is it just talks? Do they know something we don't? We obviously heard last night across all social media, there was rumours floating about that Daniel Farke had been sacked, which is proven to be untrue. So try and stick to some reliable sources, guys. As you can see, it's not looking great for Leeds United at the minute. And we need something. We need something to get ourselves out of this. We were very lucky on the weekend that West Ham drew 2-2 after a 2-0 lead. So it could look an awful lot worse than what it looks like at the minute. So, are things about to change at Leeds United? Who's your pick for next manager? And are you one of them that still feels like Daniel Farke can do a job at Leeds United? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Myself and Dylan will be back live at 8:30 this evening for the broadcast, where we're going to deep dive into everything. If you're free, pop in. We'd love to have a chat with you. So mind yourselves, mind each other. Catch you in the next one.